Welcome to CFB News. I'm Eileen Wurst.
And I'm Genevieve Bargello.
Today we're looking at A Hunch for Lunch, A Meal is Afoot, as we get to explore and expand upon their new seasonal figurines within the mashed potatoes, their infamous dish that holds little figurines that you find in the potatoes and can collect. We're so excited to unveil the new ones. Genevieve?
Yeah, so A Hunch for Lunch has been known to have a new collection of figurines every season, and they put these throughout the different dishes, but the mashed potatoes, you're always guaranteed to get one. So if you or one of your loved ones are finishing up this season's collection, make sure to get in there soon because they do reset at the end of the month. And this new collection has a fun theme that we are able to unveil today. This collection's theme is Deep Sea Mystery.
Get ready to unveil the Kraken, potentially, a sea siren, as well as none other than Hanky the Anchor. As we all know, and Genevieve, I know you're not from around here, but Hanky the Anchor is a well-known deep sea mystery told within our elementary schools, part of the curriculum. It helps the children understand the anatomy of the squid. And Hanky the Anchor was the savior, an anchor laid down by a sailor in the great deep ocean that, well, lake, I suppose, but our coastal line. It's what helped relieve the...
That's wild, you know? Eileen. You know, I learn something new every day at this job.
It's really clear, yes.
With that being said, we hope you all make your reservations soon at A Hunch for Lunch. Now, don't be alarmed if you go to the site and can't figure out where to make the reservations. That's part of the puzzle.
Yes. Well, and everybody, we hope you have a lovely rest of your news evening. I'm sure Genevieve and I are going to have a delightful time having dinner together as our boss has decided we need to bond more. Yeah. I'm just so delighted and excited to go on this experience with you, Jenny.
Don't call me Jenny. Goodbye.
This is CFB News. You are now entering Clatfartburg, a beautiful fictional city that we are slowly building on this comedy world-building podcast. I'm Elaine.
I took a big gulp of water, so I'm a little late, but I am Felicia. I am Felicia.
Yes, own it. Work it. And that's actually perfect that you took a big drink of water because it's all about hydrating yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And taking care of yourself. And even beyond that, taking care of yourself, taking care of the community. And we were looking at Clatfartburg, and a friend of the podcast, Jill, just said Trout Scouts.
Yes.
And it was something we had thought about having a scout troop as well. And so this beautiful merge happened where we thought, hey, there should be some kind of scouting group in Clatfartburg. And so today we're going to figure out the Trout Scouts and what their organization is like. If you are new to scouting in general, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or venturing crew.
I am too.
Yes, Felicia knows a lot, right? Like,
yeah.
What's your favorite? What's a Weebelo?
Whoa. That's crazy. I think a Weebelo. What do I think a Weebelo is?
Yeah, what do you think a Weebelo is?
I think a Weebelo is some sort of stick that is adorned with decorative items that you toss around like a little game.
Okay, well, it's a portmanteau meaning wolf, bear, lion. I just looked that up because I don't fully know it. But it's the middle range of Boy Scouts. It's like the baby. I don't know if it's the babies. And there's going to be sixth graders out there who I'm not a baby. But you have Boy Scouts, and before Boy Scouts, you have the Weebelos. So yes.
What are Cub Scouts? Are they not Cub Scouts?
And then there's Cub. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's Cub Scouts, Weebelos. Oh, I might be getting that wrong.
You fully made this up. This is a feat.
I am not. What's the? Yeah. I don't. Okay. My bad if I got that wrong. But it either goes Cub Scouts, Weebelos, Boy Scouts, or it goes Weebelos, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. I'm wondering if Weebelos go first because it's like daisies, you know.
Yeah, it does sound like that. I do know what the daisies are because I looked at the Girl Scout badges this morning when I was prepping for the episode, and I went, why are they all have daisy in front of them? And I figured it out. But I may know nothing, but I did come in costume because I was wearing a button-up shirt that looks a little camp, like it even has the little buttons on the pockets. And I realized if I tie a bandana about this, I'm in costume. So then I spent probably too much time trying to remember how to tie a tie while Elaine watched me.
It was great.
But I did do it. And I want to... So if you say, wow, Felicia, you didn't put much effort in this episode, know that I did. You just can't hear it.
And honestly, coming to this with... I mean, I just said a bunch of random shit. I grew up in a scouting family. I know a lot about the Boy Scouts. I was in Girl Scouts. I was in venturing crew, deep cut. So I know a lot about the structures of these kind of groups. So there's a lot of that. So I think it'll be fun for us to, like, you have this completely fresh perspective. I am so deep ingrained in the sauce. I think it'll be nice to kind of have your perspective in it. And then I can't wait to say the random shit because I've taken notes from, it's an organization. There's some weird things going on.
Right.
And I kind of forgot about that part of my life until we started talking about it. And I did scouts. I was a daisy through a junior. So I did it kindergarten through 8th grade.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I did venturing crew for another 3 years later, end of my high school career. So I know some things about scouts and I cannot wait to give these Trout Scouts the fins to fly.
Yay.
So I'm delighted. So I mean, do you want me to, where do you want to go on this camping adventure, on figuring it out? I feel like the main things I think about when I think of scouts are they have a scout law. Okay. And the structure I just told you about, different age groups.
Yes.
So
yes.
I want Trout Scouts to be co-ed.
Yes,
everybody's
agreed.
welcome. Come on down. I was looking up things about trouts.
Yeah, so I kind of got fixated on, well, why are they Trout Scouts? That was something that I was thinking about. Why are they Trout Scouts? And I developed a theory, and I want to know your thoughts on this. We talked briefly before that Crispy may be from the Sunday Funnies, and in our off time, I've really stewed on that idea, and I've grown to be very attached to it. I think he is from an old newspaper comic,
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Was Crispy the main character? That's a question that I've never... I just assumed he would be, but I had a moment where I was like, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was the side character that everyone loved. Like, he was the Snoopy. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was the Snoopy.
He was the Frasier on Cheers.
Exactly. Like, he was the spin-off one. But the main character was actually a trout. And whoever formed the Trout Scouts was either, like, related to the creator of the comic and was mad that Crispy was the one getting all the attention. Again, we're getting back to the fish politics, but
No, this is good because the Trout Scouts can hearken before Crispy's the bass took over. Like, now we have like the Trout Scouts.
This is when the trout was the main, like, they were the big thing, and then Crispy got introduced a few years later, and he captured the hearts and minds of the town,
Yeah.
And the Trout Scouts now are left with this weird, there's kind of a political, like, there's a little bit of bitterness among the group because of it. Yeah. And that's just something I wanted to pitch.
No, I think that's perfect. And there's also this weird added thing where river otters eat trout.
What? Yeah.
And as we know, we have these blonde otters that everyone's kind of obsessed with as well. So yeah. I like that the trout has some controversy, but it's more like this deep-seated tradition. And something to learn about scout groups is that there are adults. These are like the dads, mostly from my experience with Boy Scouts. And they never leave Boy Scouts.
Right.
And that's not necessarily a diss, but they hold on to those traditions of their youthhood with, like,
very
death
much.
grips, right? So when things change, we don't like it. So I can imagine the Trout Scouts these days, they're having fun. They're whatever. But I can imagine the head parents of this thing and the way it started, like, maybe a couple years ago, was a little more serious. Like, we really cared about these traditions. And so we're going to have maybe some wild things happening that are a little more strict, but, like, we're trying to wrangle in the youth now. It's this ongoing battle we have between the elders who hate the Europeans and the youth.
Yes. the classic dilemma, the generational divide. Do you hate Europeans or not? Why do we keep doing this to characters, making them hate Europeans?
I don't know, because I have no beef with Europeans.
No, same. Y'all are lovely.
Shout out to our European listeners.
All 5 of you. Really.
The best listeners.
And we just lost all of them.
And goodbye, everybody. It was so lovely having you. That was your dumb American friends over here. So looking at that, that's a good structure and a base to have. We can either go into the age group structures, or we can start with like figuring out the law and the motto. And I bring up the law and the motto because at the beginning of every scout meeting, you have to say the Girl Scouts oath or the Boy Scout law. And it's basically like, I'm going to be a good person and serve the community. But they're very long and wild. There is also a hand signal you do.
Oh, boy.
So it's very Hunger Games. So like the Girl Scouts, you raise 3 fingers.
Yeah.
Thumb, pinky touching. Boy Scouts, I believe it's just 2 fingers.
Yeah.
So, we have a little salute. So the Trout Scouts could also have their little salute. Maybe they put a little dorsal fin on their heads.
Yeah. I was just thinking jazz hands to represent a fin. But
That's
I don't.
That's it.
Oh, really? That's it?
Maybe it's like, and at the end they go, because
you have the dorsal fin. You put the hand on your forehead.
Yes.
And then they say to the kids, now make your hand swim away.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. Okay, so Felicia and I, just so you can understand, it's like if you're doing a salute, but put your hand
vertical
like,
between your eyes.
Okay, but your elbow's still out, and then at the end, jazz hands away. Oh, that's so good.
And because I'm in uniform, it looks like
it
we're
really
there.
It's really good. Do it one more time, just stunningly. Oh, wow, I'm a Trout Scout. That was great. That's perfect. Okay, so we have their little symbol that they're gonna do while they say the Trout Scout Law, oath. What do we want it to be? Because there's also a motto that goes on. So a motto, a law, an oath, guide. What's like? I was gonna look up also like what's the natural like rangers who stop people from poaching. What is that organization called? It's with the government, and it's really bothering me. I can't remember it.
I'm not the person to ask.
I'm Googling fishing rangers stop poaching. Wildlife rangers. It's not that. I'm thinking of a specific. Whatever. Fuck it. Whatever. I was just gonna be like, what are their like?
Aren't Mounties a thing? Is that Canadian?
Yeah, they're Canadian.
Okay, but like close.
I don't know if they're just like, I don't know. I only know howdy doody. But yeah, okay. Maybe they have a chant or a little song.
Okay,
a little song. So the Trout Scouts, this is important. This will help us figure out their mission.
Okay.
Do the Trout Scouts care about the community? I assume they're very much they want to care about the community. What personal things about a Trout Scout would be important, like moral integrity?
Well, maybe they make every trait somehow related to the trout? Like a trout, we swim through adversity. Like a trout, we are flexible in the sense that we don't have vertebrae. So our body is moved via pure muscle.
Like a trout, we speak our mind, but never shout. Because we want people, basically like, don't be mean. Like a trout, have no doubt, believe in others, dance about. Holding fins, we stand and sing. We are the Trout Scouts.
Let freedom ring.
Let freedom ring. They do have to have a little bit of patriotic there and there. Yeah, there's always this weird flair of patriotism that's in this shit.
Yeah, it's so American. Yeah.
Wow.
That was great. I was looking if trouts migrate so we could have a line about, like trouts, we know to swim upstream, but return home because that's where we'll always be. I didn't come up with a rhyme, but like you get the point.
No, that's I love this. Dun, 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 dun. We are the Trout Scouts. Let me see if I remember the rhymes. We will talk, but we will never shout. And we will believe in each other. We won't have any doubts. We are the Trout Scouts. We hold on to honor like a trout that's on a lure. We are
in the
here
water. In the
to
water.
endure. Yeah. Fish, 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 fish. And that's Brad. And they just keep needing to be like, Brad,
okay,
we really respect your creative freedom. We need to settle down.
I think the motto was in there somewhere.
It was in there somewhere.
You guys got it. Okay. I feel good about that. So it's very,
Perfect.
it's traditional Boy Scout, but with a bit of trout, which is what we thought. So far we have Boy Scouts, but trout themed.
It's perfect, which, beautiful. Okay, so that being said now, we're going to have different age groups. The
Yes.
Trout Scouts don't just suck people in, at a certain age. So I imagine we'll have the elementary school age, 1st through 5th grade, have a 6th through 8th grade, maybe bucket we throw those kids in because just nobody wants to deal with that age group, unfortunately. I know some people had junior high. I went through middle school. They were like, you know what? Y'all suck at this age. We're going to put you in a separate building completely far away from everybody else, and then you can return as a 9th grader. So imagine we could do something like that.
Yeah.
But I know trout, when they're babies, they're sometimes called fry. So they could be fries.
I'm good with that. I was looking
Little
up what trout
fry.
eggs are called, and they're called roe. So you could have that. I also looked up trout species by size.
I was thinking, the tadpoles will be cute, and then I learned trout eat tadpoles.
This is what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe the last level could be a predator of the trout, and I was like, that feels a little dark. This is a champion of the trout. The trout is the finest level. So is the children roe then? Because you're not even trout yet. Then you're fries.
Fry. Roe,
Then you're
fry.
trouts.
Then you're trout. I think that's fine. I like that.
And then when you graduate from trouts, you become baked trouts. No. Record-breaking trouts. Premium catch trouts.
Well, I'm trying to... Okay, so you have Eagle Scouts, which isn't like... it's just the highest honor you can get in Boy Scouts. Right. So we can think of something for this. The Trout Scout. What is their highest honor? Is it the golden... I mean, maybe it could be a different... maybe it doesn't have to just be a trout. It could be a different fish,
If
like I think
only
they're
thinking
with
about
it.
trouts, we're limiting ourselves a little.
Maybe the golden octopus. It has many hands. It's like the Renaissance man of the sea.
Because famously, trouts evolve into octopi. Wait, fish evolve into lizards. Maybe that's what the route we take.
Whoa.
Right? Well,
the Trout Scouts believe in evolution. We stan.
The Trout Scouts do believe in evolution. This is not a faith-based scouting program.
No.
The trouts... So fish evolved into most things, right? But they evolved into amphibians, so...
Like the salamander.
There we go.
The golden salamander. Or the silver salamander. Ooh.
I like that.
The silver salamander.
So roe, fry, trout, and then the silver salamanders.
Yeah, and it's the highest honor to be a silver salamander. It works on all colleges within 50 miles of Clatfartburg. Outside of it, people don't really know what it is.
Yes, very much that.
Clatfartburg also does look down on Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Obviously, they're true to heart.
They
They're
have
like
regional.
Trout Scouts. Yeah. There was like this big rift in the 90s when someone tried to make an actual Boy Scout troop, and it got snuffed out pretty quickly.
I would imagine. Because why would you?
Why would you? Well, maybe Eric
we'll see
didn't
why
get
by the end.
The Silver Salamander. Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure. There's always a rival troop. Beverly Hill Troop is a great movie. I didn't say that correctly, but go watch it. Actually, I haven't seen it in years. Maybe it doesn't stand. You know when you're like, I love this movie, and then like years pass, like you weren't a youth anymore, and you watch it, and you're like, that's kind of not great, actually.
Yeah.
Bummer. And you're like showing it to
Whoops.
someone else, and you're like, I didn't know that they were saying things like that, and that's not great. So maybe it didn't stand out, but I don't know. It's a Girl Scout movie. That's silly. Okay.
Yeah. I think my main knowledge of Scouts was a Disney Channel original movie called Den Brother. That was basically them just remaking Mrs. Doubtfire, wherein there needed to be a woman to run the Girl Scout troop. So this girl's teenage brother,
and they're bees,
dressed
right?
up as a woman.
God.
Dressed up as a woman to do the troop, and it is just Mrs. Doubtfire. I watched it probably 5 to 6 times. I saw it a lot. And he plays hockey, or was that a different movie? Because they cast all the same guys and everything.
Well,
I don't know.
I think he's also maybe part of the boy troop as well, because isn't there like a final thing at the end? And
No. He takes them to the Girl Scout Grand Final. I don't know what the fuck it is. But I think he also plays hockey. I think he plays hockey.
They play hockey in like 25% of those movies.
Hockey.
I think it's a good solid.
He is a hockey player. Thank you.
Love it.
This is a really long episode description. Oh, his best friend is named Goose. Anyway.
Wow. Hot. Not hot. That's not what I meant.
No.
Yeah.
A hot piece of knowledge.
A hot piece of knowledge. My brain feels it. What were we talking about?
I think we were talking about, we were just kind of rambling, so I think we can move on to the next topic.
Okay, cool. So we know that. Great. Okay, so within the Trout Scouts, they're going to have some staple events. Now, Boy Scouts are known for their roller derby. This is when they fashion these cars.
Oh, fuck that. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
I got excited.
Not the derby.
Not the roller derby I'm interested in.
Sorry, Ro.
You cannot. You cannot.
Well, Felicia,
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the Boy Scouts. Don't take that away from us. Okay. We can now write this wrong.
Yes, which we also, I forget if we were just talking about this, if we recorded it on main feed, but we had also mentioned that the Trout Scouts make boats to see how fast they go. So
and they go down the river in the otter exhibit.
Yes. So I think that can be one of them. The Trout Scout boat float.
The Trout Scout boat float. Take it through the water with the otters.
Wow.
I love that. That's very good. Bonus points if they make it look like a fish. Yes. Ooh, is it boats or is it fish? Do they make a fish? A model fish?
I think that they get to decorate their sails, and that's a really big thing about it.
Okay, yes.
That's like a really important aspect, and then you get to you can frame your sail. Like, people have their past boats in shadow boxes and shit, you know? They probably put ships in bottles as well. Maybe that's getting ahead of ourselves. That has nothing to do with my badges, but I just see that being a rite of passage.
Yes.
Like, you learn how to tie knots, you know, and then you also put ships in bottles.
Are you really an adult before you've put a boat in a bottle?
You haven't lived until you've done it. I've always wanted to do that. It looks frightening.
It looks painful.
It does. I feel like one wrong move and you're like, well, fuck. There goes a good bottle.
Yeah, that's the problem, is you've lost a good bottle. That's the issue with it.
Oh my God. Okay, surely now maybe this is where things get wild. They surely have to go on a fishing trip. You know,
right.
There's some kind of fishing trip. And this actually leads into something I think could be helpful as another thing we can discuss. So there is something called the Order of the Arrow in Boy Scouts. And the best way I can describe it, it's like a weird secret society within the Boy Scouts. And at one point, they send the kid out into the woods with minimal supplies. And I think other people might be camping nearby, but they have to be by themselves and figure out their life. And then they come back. It's called the Ordeal. Once they do the ordeal,
what the hell is going
they can
on?
then get inducted into the Order of the Arrow. And they get to wear a little sash with an arrow on it. It is the most cult insane shit. And I fucking wished I was like, well, Girl Scouts had that. I want to get into the Order of the Arrow. This is really cool.
Mom, I want to go through the ordeal.
I want to be cool. I want to go through the ordeal. This was the problem. I had older brothers, and I was like, they're doing all this shit.
Yeah.
No, I can't. Youngest child syndrome there. But now I get to live out my dreams.
It's like I'm hating on all this, but I did theater as a kid, so what can I say? You know.
And I will say, I had friends from it, and I had activities, and I went camping. I did really cool things from it, you know? There's some fun things with the Scouts. It's gotten better. It's gotten way better. I don't think they, based on what I did, too, in Girl Scouts, I once earned a badge for making a jewelry box. They no longer have that badge.
That's good, I think.
My Girl Scout troop was like, can we go fucking hike and shit? And they were like, make jewelry. And I'm like, this is 2005. Get with the times.
Have you ever heard of feminism?
Yeah, we were little feminist Girl Scouts. It was really cute. And then we went and sold our cookies.
You've won the badge for protesting against the jewelry box badge for reasons of feminism badge.
I would have fucking loved it, man.
It was a test. Now you're in the Order of the Jewelry Box.
The Order of the Jewelry Box. And I didn't even make that, man. This is what happens when you stand on the sidelines, guys. Use your voice.
Yes.
You too can change the Scouts. And you are.
Too.
Things are changing for the better. From when I last heard. Hopefully that's continuing. But But I would love for them to have their own version of like, if you need to go out into the wilderness and do this, but maybe it's like you're in a canoe and you have to go from one end of the river to the other, maybe, and it's a 3-day journey.
Oh boy, yeah.
And there's check-ins, like maybe like,
I like that.
You know,
I
your
feel
dad
like
swings by and there's a cooler with a lot of beef jerky. I don't know why you don't need to put beef jerky in a cooler. He wasn't a great Trout Scout, but you know, you could be like, oh, okay, here's a little food stop, you know?
Yeah, I don't think they do fishing trips because I feel like it's antithetical. I honestly think, remember, this town does not have fish at festivals related to crispy, you know? This town is about 8 months away from doing a full ban on fish products.
Now, they used to
think,
because they're pre-crispy. So they used to.
Right.
They have a torrid, dark history that's hidden in the back of the museum. No, they just aggressively hunt deer. No, they only hunt Canadian geese. Nobody likes a Canada goose. I bet you do. Do you like a Canada goose?
I like them from afar. I like looking at them, but I don't like them near me. It's interesting because I love birds with long necks, but I don't want to come near one. I fully have a tattoo of some cool long neck birds, but I'm not, I love them, and I literally have 2 tattooed on my body, and I will never go near them, thank you.
That's okay. Never meet your idols, as they say.
Very much that. I'm like, do I love birds aesthetically? Do I love them in real life? Debatable. I want them to be okay. Like, I'm not anti-birds, you know. I mean, as we know, I'm a pigeon apologist.
Yeah. Well, birds aren't real anyway, so I just, you know, it's whatever.
Joke. Not that fucking bit. I'm fucking sick of it, all you millennials.
I did get attacked by a bird today, if that makes you feel better.
That does make me feel better. They preemptive at you for that.
Yeah. I screamed and I was in public. That was great. Walking my dog, at least there was a beast with me, but
yeah,
I saw its abdomen. It's not good when a bird is flying and you see its abdomen right by your face. I have a lot of beef with birds, actually. So I'm sorry I took it out on the Canada goose. A lot of people have really intense feelings about them. Okay, well, I'm sure, you know, there's got to be something. So maybe they do a hunting trip, but it's like, you know.
But it's like staged, and it's just like stuffed animals. That
everyone
throw
cries,
Nerf guns
and then
at.
they're like,
yeah,
okay. These young little whippersnappers, they don't know how to do. Back in the day, I had to go and skin my own deer and use its hide to sleep through the whatever our version of the ordeal is. We didn't come up with the name. The canoe of consciousness.
I want everybody to know I'm so used to Elaine's bullshit that I was fully yawning as she did that.
Yeah. I know. It's honestly, sometimes it's like I get to do my own little playtime, like when I was a youth and my brothers wouldn't hang out with me. Like, I'm used to it. I take no offense to it, and I know that I'm on my own in those moments.
It's a great bit. I am low on sleep, so you're working against it. So
there's nothing better than when someone goes, yeah, that was a great bit. That was funny. I
am low on sleep, so
I'm tired.
I have very few facial expressions. It's sometimes hard to tell when I do think things are funny.
A lot of your energy did go into tying your scarf.
I did sap a little out of me. I think it's stored in there like a Horcrux.
Yeah. Oh God, I forgot what they're called, but people do design. God, what are they called? Oh, this is gonna piss me off. The little like wooden blocks you can put to keep your oh my God, I have to look it up. Boy Scout.
Is it a Weeble like you said earlier?
A Weeble. They're not called scarf. Handkerchief slide. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Handkerchief slide.
I was actually trying to make one out of a ring a few days ago. So
they have like these really cool metal ones, but some people make a wooden one and they design it themselves. So that could be a really fun thing that you do maybe when you're what was the middle one? We had roe fry. Maybe when you're a small fry, maybe that's when you get to like make your own, and then by the time you're a Trout Scout, you're at that age where you're like, I'm in it, but I feel kind of like a nerd, and so like that's when you get your metal one or whatever. The metal ring made from the blacksmith who also makes the napkin rings for Nancy Pankin, because the blacksmith
and the standard ring does have a little trout on it. I actually have a ring that has a salmon on it that I wish I had used, because that would have been great.
Oh my God, it would have
been so on theme. And then the salamander one is a salamander.
Because when you get the silver salamander, that's when you get the really fancy it's like really long too. They did too much. It's almost like this long, like you have the handkerchief, but then the rest of the dangly bits is just sucked into the salamander, and it's really easy to bend over, and it kind of pokes you in the jugular. But it's sick as hell, though. Sick as hell.
It's like when, this isn't really related. I think I was just about to talk about problems I have and foist it onto the podcast. It's like when I try and tie a tie and it always looks silly on me because I'm short. That's it. That wasn't related.
I mean, the uniform. We haven't talked about the full uniform. Scout uniforms are always a little silly, you know, but
they're goofy.
Okay, I mean, blue is kind of the obvious answer, but should it be more like a weird gray to represent, you know? Right, well, and the different stages have different outfits too. They have different uniforms. So the roe is like an orange because that's the color of fish eggs traditionally. I love that. They're a little orange. Fry is blue because the trouts are so small. It's mostly ocean. Yeah. And the trouts are gray, and then the salamanders are red. Whoa. What are we thinking on the hat situation? Oh, I'm so glad you said this because they need hats. They all will be wearing hats. Exactly. I'm imagining something, I mean, like a classic ranger hat would make me really happy. I'm thinking the salamanders go cowboy. I don't know why, but I think the salamanders, there's a big Western tinge, and it's very, the salamander is kind of a aesthetic rebellion against the town. Not in a bad way, but this is where they're kind of crispy, me. It comes out in the fact that they have these very Southwestern inspired. Yes. Salamander costumes. It's very, not costumes. not costumes. I just pictured like 17-year-old boys running around in salamander costumes. Maybe that's part of the midnight salamander. That's part of the ordeal. Well, part of the ordeal. Yes. You're stranded. You're in a canoe, and you must canoe down the river for 3 days straight. But get this: all you have with you is a salamander costume. My gosh! Yes. How preposterous! The salamander is so universal and easy to use, versatile. Use it as a tent. Use it as a nice, fashionable little coat. Use it as a tarp. Use it to hide yourself. Any piece of fabric. As we know from the fish talking course we all did, you can dress as a salamander and you can speak to the fish and catch them that way. The true art of fishing through talking. The Trout Scout talk fish talk. There's something there. Catfish. Oh, catfish. Catfishing. Fishing for compliments. There's something there too. There's so many stupid fish puns. I love it. Okay, so the salamanders now, I do like that they're more of an elite group within the group because it was like a Trout Scout earns the rank, the medal of it, but they're actually officially now the Silver Salamanders, and they're kind of assholes because they're at the top. And honestly, they deserve it. They went through all that fucking shit. They went through like a decade of Trout Scouts. You earned it. You get to be the mean teenagers. It's good. We're proud of you. Yeah, I love the Western theme. They have to have socks. All of them have to have ridiculous, really long socks. And maybe that's a universal gold. They've got seaweed on them. They got little seaweed on them. It's like the ocean floor. Oh, that's good. And then they have the Trout Scout symbol like on the ankle, you know, which is the trout and a splash of water behind it. And then maybe in the distance, very tiny, it's an eagle because you have to. Even though the eagle could probably very easily eat the trout. Don't know if that's really what they go for, but hey, fish is fish. Fish is fish. And that's why Trout Scouts are so inclusive. The ocean is the world, and water is life. So, cool. So we you know, for episodes, we normally will try and prepare something if it makes sense, and we have each come up with 3 badges very quickly before recording. Yeah. So, and honestly, some of mine, there's like probably, because I was trying to think of ideas, and one of them kind of is encompassed by a lot of them. So technically I might have more, but I'm just going to put it under one umbrella because... Yeah, I have one extra idea, which is you can get a badge for helping the elderly get delivery from a hunch for lunch. That's just a side note. I thought that's cute. Oh, and then they have to be good at logic puzzles and stuff. Exactly. And then they get the logic puzzle badge with it as well. So I'll do my first one first. Okay. Or if you have more, do you want to go first? I don't know. I mean, they're kind of nestled under each other, so it'll be fine. So my first badge is the Trout Promotion Badge, where you are asked to promote the trout as a creature. So because of this, a lot of school presentations take a sharp left turn into trout. So it'll be like
I'm doing a presentation on like the Great Depression, and then halfway through, suddenly they're talking about the trout population during the time period.
That's good.
And this is an expected thing where, you know, a lot of kids are in Trout Scouts, and every time it happens, teachers are just like, God damn it. You know,
God, it happened again.
And they want you to tie the trout to world events. You know, when sometimes they try and ask you to tie things to large events, and it's like, okay, sometimes this is justified, and sometimes I'm like 12 and I don't know what you mean. And I don't know how to make the trout as a metaphor for like fascism.
Yeah.
You know? But I think that's part of the requirements of the badge. So you get a lot of weird presentations because of it.
I like it. What would the design of the badge be? This is another thing, actually, quick.
I'm thinking a little trout on a TV. A little trout on a
TV. That's cute.
I'm thinking circle. We don't need to be crazy.
Classic circle. I love it. Okay. Well, one of my... The name of this badge is Everybody is a Genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Climbing badge. You know that quote from Einstein? So, it's a mouthful, but the scouts, so it's a climbing badge. So the scouts must either do 3 high ropes courses, summit a mountain, or climb 1 mile of a via ferrata. Now, let me tell you, a via ferrata, if you don't know, is basically when you have either like a mountain, a tall thing with rocks, if you will, that some people would climb and boulder. They've put in little metal things in there with like a metal cord. You clip yourself in and you're sideways climbing. There is nothing but you and the stone, this one carabiner, and these tiny metal rope things you're holding on to. Okay, pretty spooky. I did that when I was 15 years old, not knowing really what I was getting into. And one of the men was like, okay, so if you see a rattlesnake, they're like bees. If you don't bother them, they won't bother you. And I was like, what? Okay, first off, no, that's not right. Second off, what the fuck are you saying right now? Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? That I didn't know snakes were part of this. We were in the air, and we reached a point where there was like nothing. And if you fell, also they were going to still have to come and get you. Like this one carabiner you were just going to be dangling on the side. But there were a lot of like blind jumps you kind of had to do and stuff. So I really like the idea that they have to do the via ferrata because it's spooky.
Yeah.
There's someone who always cries, but they get through it together because they're Trout Scouts and they help each other. And then they must leave behind a trout stamp, which I haven't decided what that is, but I like the idea that they all have a little stamp thing they got to do. And in nature, they just press it into the ground and it leaves a little trout stamp. And it's just the symbol of the Trout Scouts. And then that way, leave no trace. You're not messing. You know, you're not picking up something. You're not like painting or carving anything. You're just leaving an impression, as they like to say.
I like that. I like the trout stamp. It does sound a lot like a tramp stamp, so that's very fun. I have a category of badges.
Perfect.
Which is, this is dumb, but it was what I thought of. And I'm going from best to worst, by the way. So this is the film recreation badge category.
Ooh.
So one of the troop leaders is a big cinephile, and there are badges for recreations and or adaptations of classic films, such as the Citizen Kane badge.
Oh my God.
Citizen Trout. That's your badge, is Citizen Trout. And it doesn't have to be trout themed. So it means you get, some people do full like frame by frame recreations of Citizen Kane, but with like 8 to 12-year-olds, you know, Trout Scout, you know, and other films you can get the psycho trout. You know, lots of things like that. I don't, what are other classic films? Trout Casa Trouta. Trout better.
Legally Trout. They're allowed to do that occasionally.
Trout window. Rear window.
Trout window? It's just a little fish in a wheelchair staring and looking out binoculars the whole time. That's good. So, but like you get like the interpretive dance version of Citizen Kane. You've gotten a 10-minute play of Citizen Kane. It's just, it's how much people want to throw themselves into it. And I just thought that was fun. Yeah. I love it. You're not allowed to do Moonlight Kingdom though. Moonlight Kingdom? Moonlight Kingdom? Which one is it?
Troutwork Orange.
Troutwork Orange? Hopefully they don't do that one.
I would hope not. Well, that's the Salamanders can do R-rated films.
Oh, yeah, they can do. That's good.
The Princess Trout.
The Princess Fisheries.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking of The Princess Bride, but I'm glad we both got there.
Oh, well then we have, okay, perfect. We got both there.
Yeah.
That's good. Everything in my body wants to keep going and I have to stop myself.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So my next one I got, which one of these stupid ones do I want to go with? Okay. So there is a career badge and it's where you have to write up your dream career and then you have to go and connect with someone and shadow them. And so there is a Trout Scout. Her name is Kathleen and she has always wanted to be a news reporter. And so she reached out to the station and she got paired with Genevieve. And when Genevieve and Kathleen met, like Genevieve, I assume would be kind of excited by this. I don't know if she would be peeved, but I get the vibe that she could be like, oh my gosh, someone like is interested in what I do. You tell me. She has feel?
I feel like she does have an element of insecurity being the outsider in this town. So having, and whatever negative feelings she would have about the fact that there's this kid I have to deal with sometimes now, that is erased by the fact that Eileen was not picked. And it was her.
Yeah. So little Kathleen goes up and she goes, well, hello there. My name is Kathleen Wurst, and I'm so excited to get to work with you, Genevieve. That's right. Kathleen Wurst is Eileen Wurst's younger sister. We've got a lot of drama now with the career badge.
Wow.
Lore. So Eileen and Kathleen, they have an age gap, but
I guess they'll feature on tomorrow's episode. Not tomorrow's episode. Next week's episode. Do not be setting up false promises. Jesus.
Yeah. So I don't know why. That just brought me some joy. So Kathleen Wurst, the, 11-year-old bopping around with Genevieve. And I like to, maybe Genevieve doesn't know, but she hears the voice and she's like,
are they step siblings?
Oh.
I feel like step siblings, more
drama. I imagine Eileen and Kathleen were pretty decently close, but maybe Kathleen's reaching an age now where she's like, fuck you all, whatever. And that's why this is an additional burn. Kathleen, like Eileen didn't even know Kathleen was doing this.
Right.
And then to see Kathleen with you, Genevieve.
With me.
With you. I went to bat for Eileen in that moment. Girl, calm down.
You started method acting.
I became Eileen Wurst.
So this is this badge is so bad. I wrote in parentheses after it, bad.
Perfect.
The big snake badge. You just gotta find and hold a big snake. It's because I talked to my friend Jill. My friend Jill was over and I was saying, I don't know shit about scouting. She was like, I don't know. I just remember a lot of people holding snakes. And I said, put it on the books. But this is the thing. Here's the twist.
Yeah.
A lot of people get this badge by campfire light on a camping trip. So they're constructing snakes like fake idols on Survivor.
Oh, wow.
So there are some record-breaking snakes. We've had 12-foot. We've had... And they're like, they're wriggling. I can't keep a hold of it. But see, it's so big. And then they like throw it into the woods.
Yeah. And so later, hikers are going along and they just see a bunch of like covered in leaves, let's say, these fake snakes that from afar, you're like, what the fuck? And then somebody goes missing and they're like, what's going on? It's the snakes. But they're found, no worries.
Yeah.
I love that. It's one of those ones that seems easy, but you got to get over a fear. And also, we know Clatfartburg isn't known for their big snakes.
Be really good with crafting.
A good combo. If people are like, we don't buy the snake thing, it becomes the crafting badge. So then, everybody wins. We support
everybody wins.
Everybody's creativity.
I feel like it's like an accepted workaround for the big snake badge. Like it's on the books because it's like one of the original badges from back in the day. But there's like the biggest snake in Clatfartburg is 8 inches long. So there's like kind of no way to actually get a snake this big.
And it's in the aquarium. So,
right. So you can't, like, there's you're not going to get a snake bigger. So I think this is the only way to get the big snake badge. And it's just kind of this accepted, like, you do this and you have to pretend like you have to put on the facades. And that's why it is now a crafting and acting badge. Because you need to give a believable performance that this snake that you have made is alive. But it is still listed as like a nature tiering badge. But
yes,
informally.
I would hate doing it.
Who knew the
but I
big
would
snake
love it.
badge was actually great? I got convinced by the time I was done talking.
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh,
you know
can they
what?
do like a snake dance with the puppets, like the dragon dance, but it's a giant snake at some point? Oh, God, I love that.
That's what they do at the parades.
Yes. Yes. I was in multiple parades on Girl Scout floats, and we got to decorate
You know
our
what?
own
I don't think I've
floats.
ever been in a parade, and I'd like to keep it that way.
It's honestly not as like, I don't know. Like one time we had to write down our like ancestors we were proud of, and I was like, well, there's a lot of like slave smugglers in my ancestry, so I'm not really proud of that. But the captain of the Mayflower is a descendant of me, so I put him
A descendant of you.
a descendant of me.
He is your son.
I am eternal of time. I am related to him. He's an ancestor. There we go.
Nice.
Anyway, it's not fun. I mean, it's okay. You're like on a moving vehicle, but like children are waving at you and you're also a child and you're like,
Yeah, I know.
I had to give them candy and I was like, I'm just going to
Not
sit.
for
I'm kinda
me,
over
thanks.
this.
Not for me, thanks.
No. Unless it was like a Disney thing, then I'd be in that fucking shit. I'd be at that shit's crazy. You
know
have,
what
like,
I
a
did today? I
sea
read the
found
Wikipedia
shit.
article just called Incidents at Disney World. That was a fun 20-minute deep
I
dive.
bet that was fucking great.
I mean, it was very depressing. I don't know why I read it. I was listening to a podcast about Mission Space, and then I was like, hey, what happened?
Oh. Okay, you ready for another one?
Yeah. Give me that badge.
You know what? They're small enough. I'm going to list all of mine that I've had. They're
Yeah,
really
just
not
do
big.
it. Just do
There's
it.
Thank you. There's a treehouse badge where you have to plan, build, and stay the night in a treehouse. And I
Hell
think
yeah.
that's cute.
Sounds great. That's a lot of work.
It is. It's a really sick badge, though. It's like hologram.
See, and this is why a lot of
shines.
people do the big snake badge, because it is very minimal effort comparatively. If someone takes the big snake badge, it's like, okay, this is like...
Only 6 Trout Scouts in all of history have done the treehouse badge, and you can find their tree houses to this day in the woods. However, we don't go in that section of the woods for the thing we do not speak of. Anyway, do you have more?
Gonna say, the Trout Scout doing the big snake is like me taking math for teachers in college because I didn't want to take high level math. So I just learned how to do addition really good.
That's fucking great.
Actually, it was a really fun class, but that's the kind of workaround. Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Embrace
Which is another
the big
badge
snake.
they have. It's just a piece of paper, though, that you can like pin to your fucking little shirt, I guess.
Well, the badge is snake like a snake.
It's pretty sick. Yeah. But there are a few tree houses that still live on to this day. Definitely one of the scout leaders did the tree house and is going to force his kid to do it.
Absolutely. Sorry about that,
I love
guys.
that I'm still so exciting. What other ones do you have? Do you have more?
No, I wrote 3.
Oh, perfect. Here we go. I lost track of how many I've said. It's all been a blur. Okay, I have the Busy Beaver badge, which is where you make dams and you learn about dams.
Nice. Love it.
They fucked up the waterways at one point, but it's pretty cute and silly. Just imagine you're getting a bunch of
Classy.
sticks going across the river. It's probably annoying, but fun. And then I have the family stories. This is like a memoir badge, but you have to go and interview your family and you learn about them. And then you have to write up to 15 pages.
I had to do this in middle school.
That's perfect.
It was called the Oldest Living Relative Project. And I said,
Aw.
I don't know them like that. Can I do my grandpa? And he said, sure. So,
Well, you know me. I couldn't just leave it there. I was like,
boy.
who would do this badge? What would that look like? So Dale Iron Alexander is a Trout Scout. And he's like kind of coasted through. He's 16. He's like, they really want me to be a Silver Salamander. I don't know. Let me get this badge. I guess it's like a low-hanging fruit one. So Dale Iron Alexander, he's talking to his grandma, and she lets slip something that's a little interesting. And Dale Iron Alexander uncovers a little tidbit of history, and he finds in the attic, because his grandma's like, oh yeah, there's some fun photos of like, me as a child or whatever. But as he's going through, a piece of paper falls out and he opens that. And it's old, but it's a series of dashes and swirls. And it's also signed DN in the corner. Dale Iron Alexander has an interesting piece of a puzzle, similar to the Delanoir code that is currently in the museum.
Wow.
That is where his story technically begins, but where we will leave him for now.
I'm just gonna tease that. I did figure out the name as you were talking, and I was like, Dale Iron Alexander. Now, Alexander sounds familiar, as if it's not a thing I made up. But to be fair, I changed it a few times.
Yeah, it went back and forth.
And then I got the anagram. That was very fun.
Oh, thank you. I had a lot of fun with that.
Not to spoil it for the audience.
You can figure it out yourself. Dale Iron Alexander, the family was in the iron business, and they boomed in the Industrial Revolution, which is where the iron came from. All the men in the family have been given different metal names. I do this a lot. If y'all know from the old podcast, I make stupid lore we didn't need. Yeah. We didn't need to know about the family history, but I had it just in case. The family
always has middle names that are based on metals. But they do. Before you come out, Elaine, their middle names are based on metals because their family used to be the lead metal producer. So stop it. Stop emailing us. We know. We've got it figured out.
And that's why in that family it's really fun when they said, if you're the one who smelt it, you're the one who dealt it. Like smeltering.
Okay, we need to figure do you have any more badges?
No, I think that was it for the Busy Beaver bitches. Yeah, we're good.
What do they sell?
Well, okay, so Girl Scouts sell cookies. Boy Scouts sell popcorn. I want these fuckers to sell.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. Because it's manly.
Why do popcorn's for Boy Scout things been why? Why is that what it is?
So what's a fun, like, I imagine...
Well, I was thinking about trout treats, just as a note, trout treats.
I was thinking of something crazy like licorice. Turkish Delight. I'm just saying, cookies to Girl Scouts means nothing. Popcorn to Boy Scouts means nothing.
No, it's true.
You know.
I don't know.
Let's go crazy.
Bagels.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Bagel shish kebabs. Shishka bagels. Little bagels on a stick. You can get them candied.
These cannot be perishable items.
Bagels do perish at some point.
Well, yeah, but like not fucking meat. Or did I misunderstand what you were saying?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
It's little bagels on a stick.
They're gonna fall off the stick because of the hole in the middle.
There's an end stopper on the thing. Have you ever had waffle on a stick? It's quite a delightful. Food on a stick is amazing.
Well, yeah, but waffles don't have holes in them. So this is essentially like a paper towel holder, but of bagels.
I mean, what is a corn dog?
What?
If not the same thing. If we're going to deep dive into foods on sticks,
have a big hole in the middle of them already.
Yes, you do that. Well, maybe you have to hold it upright. I never said it was good. The Trout Scouts aren't. They're not out here perfect.
I'm saying I don't think it's the same.
Part of the game is you put it down. It's a ring toss with your bagels.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a ring toss, but like that's not the same experience as eating things on a stick. There just happened to be in a
became a
holder
separate conversation.
Was it?
It was, yes.
To you it was. Well, but not to me.
So bagels are an option. Okay. I like bagels. Potato chips.
I am gonna go dash. So
go ahead, go dash.
I'll be quick. All those lentils, I'll be good.
Hey, I love it. Should I sing a Trout Scout song? Let me get ocean sounds. Hold on, this could be fun. Well, it's me, old Bethany. Oh yes, I too was a Trout Scout back in the day. Back when I used to have to wear sashes. This was before they changed out the outfit, so everybody got to wear button-downs. I got the suffragette badge. Women already had the right to vote when I was a Trout Scout, but they still allowed the suffragette badge. I sewed a banner and it said, "Fish are feminists too," and it was controversial at the time. But you, Dale Iron Alexander, you have a long lineage of this. Well, you of course are going to be a Silver Salamander, just like your father. Oh, your grandfather? Don't ask me about him. He was always something different.
How do we feel about tempeh?
I think that could work.
What if they're selling tempeh? It came to me.
Is tempeh,
on the toilet.
Is that like a tofu kind of vibe?
It's like tofu, but you can see the fermented soybeans.
Oh, fun. It's like a visual experience.
Yeah, it's a visual and textual experience.
I love that.
You have to steam it, otherwise it's a little bitter.
You could have different flavors. Oh, well, that's fun.
And they can also have trout tempeh, so they're cut into the shape of trouts. I know we said they don't have to be related, but like...
I love it. Well, I was going to say it could probably go really well with fish-related dishes, but they don't eat fish. But, like, do clams count? You know what I mean?
Well, but you could also put the tempeh in with, like, as a replacement of the fish. Does it have a similar texture to fish?
Oh, yeah.
Not at all, ladies and gents, but they do advocate for it.
That's why A Hunch for Lunch is such a big supporter before their vegan menu. They get all they have their little tempeh from the Trout Scouts, and they'll have Trout Scout Day where like 10% of the earnings.
Trout Scout Tempeh Day.
Trout Scouts Tempeh Day. That's so cute. I love that.
I'm excited to see what shenanigans you got up to. Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, you didn't hear anything. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love this a lot.
I love it too.
I really want to go to the Trout Scouts. And one thing I just want to drop here, maybe we return to this. Maybe it's a side thing, but there's always a Boy Scout jamboree and all the Boy Scouts across the nation come together. I think sometimes it's in DC. It might change around, but it's the jamboree. And there's just lines of all these Boy Scouts getting together. They're all camping out. And I would love the Trout Scouts to try to have a jamboree. But how many Trout Scout troops are out there?
I mean, there's one, right?
I don't know. I mean, how big would it have to be? Are they trying to expand? I imagine they would want to. No.
Have you met this town? Fucking no.
So it was a really big deal when the town next door created their own
Trout Scout.
They made their Salamander Scouts, and that's really controversial because the Silver Salamander is the highest. Ooh,
we don't like it. We don't like it.
And that's why we also, Queso Closed, will do a Salamander Scout Day.
Yeah.
Where they sell hats.
Satan.
With salamanders on them. Satan. They sell Satan.
Well, no, because Satan is another type of meat substitute.
Oh. I'm learning so much. What the fuck is Satan? Like, what is that?
I think it's like some sort of wheat-based protein. It's a little gummier.
Can I get a Satan taco, please?
Yeah, it is always, It's a fun one to say.
Well, they sell Satan. That's perfect.
Seitan.
Wow. That honestly has made me the happiest I've felt in 4 days. Thank you.
You're
that
welcome.
Sounded really dark. I'm good. It's fine.
I'm glad I could be the light in your life.
Wow. To round us out, I did bring out my...
Yes, I'm so excited.
So there was a badge I had to do. It was a photography badge. And I had to take a couple of photos. And I had to write a little like what this thing is about. I was so fucking young. This was in... Let's see... You were fresh out the womb. This is October 28th, 2003.
Whoa. How old were you?
I was in 4th grade, so I would have been 7?
7, 8.
Yes, 7, 8, around there. This book is about a Girl Scout camp out at the cabins. My companions. I spelled CANPANYONS. Companions were... names. It was so much fun and kind of creepy. Too many bugs. Oh, this camp, I opened up a window in this cabin and it was filled with nothing but ladybugs. And this was a big fucking window.
Oh boy.
Ladybugs might seem cute, but you put anything like that in mass together, horrifying.
Yeah.
Blank's birthday was during the camp out, so we had fun. I hope you enjoy this book by Elaine Best. And then I wrote out my address and I called it My Adventure. I put the title at the very bottom of the book. My Adventure. Let me see if I can find a horrible picture of me. They most certainly exist.
I don't think I've ever seen Elaine as a baby.
Ever? Oh, well, let me get the other book here. I have a day. So on the first day of brownies,
what was the photo of, though? Because I want to know what the photo was of. Because it did look like just a piece of molding with a little piece of bread attached.
It was a horrible chrysalis that was above my bed. When I tell you, like, I don't know why we didn't get to bring our own tents, but like they would use whatever was already at these campsites. So like this was the cabin. It's like your classic, little cabin. It had a door. Right. And that's how big this window was. It's like half the size of the door. You open that shit covered in ladybugs. So there was like this horrible chrysalis thing. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, spooky. I thought that was a little slice of bread attached to some molding.
No, like we slept with our sleeping bags over our heads, so when the bugs inevitably fell over at night, it didn't go in our mouths.
I'm glad I was not in Scouts.
Yeah, a lot of Scouts in my life. Glad that we made the Trout Scouts and that they're gonna have a jamboree. I would love to talk about that at some point later in life here, because I think them doing a camp out is delightful. Yeah. And I think we've planted a lot of good things for the community.
Later in life.
We'll get to it later in life, be it on this feed or buy me a coffee feed. You know, we're all the crazy garbage shit fun, but chaos reigns a lot. If you thought the main feed was crazy, oh boy, Buy Me a Coffee is just a wibbly wobbly jello of joy and jubilation and jeepers creepers.
If you want to go support us, you can go to clatfartburg.com, which just like redirects you to our Buy Me a Coffee. We did a Pride and Prejudice commentary track recently that was very fun. Here's the highlight. I just want to let you all know that Elaine during that revealed that when she sees buildings in movies, she always thinks that would hurt to sit on. We learn new things about each other every time we record.
It's so beautiful.
But yeah, you can go over there and check that out. Another shout out, I'm going to give it out again to Operation Olive Branch. We'll have a link in the description to give donations for everything going on in Palestine. There's it's kind of a GoFundMe repository, and it's just a great resource. And we're just going to keep throwing it out there.
Yes, please go check that out. If you want to contact us, follow us, all that good jazz, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Clatfartburg. And we've been getting some emails now. Thank you for those of you who are reaching out. We've got some people who are suggesting things about the town, and
we have a headcanon that I would like to say today, because we talked about if we get a little headcanon, a little note, that maybe will inspire something, maybe it won't. I mean, the Trout Scouts inspired this. We make no promises, but we do want to read out. We got a headcanon from our listener, Kate, and they said, I think Clatfartburg is a big hockey town. Like, they fucking love hockey, but especially the local Little League and high school teams, which do play on the lake. And I think that has potential.
It's good.
It does have potential.
One of the things I want to do is a big sports opening day in Clatfartburg.
Yeah, definitely sports. I think we may end up making up our own sport, because why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we? But I
think the hockey can also be there.
Hockey feels
it does make sense.
Yeah. I mean, Clatfartburg, while they really love one thing and stick to it, they are allowed to have more than one thing. So they can have more than one sport. But I do love this as well, and I fully agree that it checks.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you so much.
If you want to email us to clatfartburg@gmail.com. If you like,
send us your headcanons, and we'll give it little short ones, and we'll read them out, because it's fun. It's a fun, nice time. It's so
silly.
We'll pick one and read it. Should we sign out with the Trout Scout motto? Let's see what we can remember. Like a trout, we always speak up but never shout.
And we will always believe in each other and never feel any self-doubt. And while we may go in different streams, we always come back to follow our dreams. Over and out, the Trout Scouts.
Let freedom ring.
Jazz hands away.
It definitely used to rhyme with Let Freedom Ring. So, but I think that was the best one.
Of my little fish brain memory,
that one was the best one. You got there. The fish brain.
What if that is the official sign off for every episode? It's just the Trout Scout motto.
Which would be wild, considering the bass is the mascot. Right. That's the way. And we're gonna have to remember it every time.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna veto that idea with love.
Yeah, no. The second I said it, I was like, "That's hell." But any future Trout Scout episodes, we will sign off with whatever that version of
whatever
the Trout Scout
we think
Law
the
is.
motto is that week.
Yeah, I love it.
Bye guys.
Bye.